There we go. I do believe we're live, so I'll say indeed and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. What a pleasure it is to have you here again on another conscious evolution. Another opportunity for us to consider fear and decision making. Had a really deep conversation with, little spider was on me for a second. There you go. Didn't hurt him. Just took him flying. Me and Joe had a meaningful conversation the other night about fears. You know, there's a big change coming to both of our lives very soon. She's having someone live in the home with her. I am going from my home all the way to a whole different world. I have no idea what to expect. No, that's not true. I have some idea what to expect. I have informed myself as much as I can, but it's still going to be a completely new experience to me. And there was this conversation had about the worries, the stressors, the fears that arise. And then later in the conversation, when we talked about fear directly, I felt this almost need to say that I'm not afraid, right? Or at the very least, what I meant in that moment is that I'm not letting fear make the decision for me. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, right? It's very easy for us to consider the role fear plays in our lives. It's very easy for us to be influenced, especially as it relates to our decision making with fear behind the wheel, right? Do things because you're scared is going to leave you at a disadvantage, right? Not doing things because you're scared is going to leave you at a disadvantage. So how do we reconcile? I find myself, and for me it is just a matter of I can feel the fear, I can experience it, I can articulate it to myself, I can be aware of the reasons that there are to be scared. But then I make a decision from the question of what would be the most loving thing to do. What would my spirit love? What would the spirits of others love? What would the spirits of place love? The one where I am going towards. If you just joined, we're having a conversation today about fear as it shows up in our lives, and specifically how fear influences our decision making. I think it goes without saying, many of us have probably made some decisions out of a place of fear. Right now, we're going through a whole Black Friday thing, for example. Dalai drama. That's hilarious. Right now, we're all going through like a whole Black Friday thing, right? And the whole world is in this manic state to try and get the deal before the deal goes away, right? And the way that I see it is that it is a kind of fear, right? It's a kind of fear that registers, that arises in the being of, I don't want to miss out on this good deal that they're offering me. I don't want to buy this thing I want later and then pay $200 more for it than I can get it for right now, right? And in that way, it's a small thing. This dog is pushing his body up against my body. No, it's hot though. I'm telling you, stop doing that, please. You can sit there. You can have your spot, and then I have my spot though. Thank you, Falkor. I appreciate the love that you're sending. It's humid here. It's like 90% humidity. It's not hot, but I'm not very comfortable. Yeah. Something. No, don't. No. No. I said no. 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 That's a no. Don't you know? Don't you know what no means? The audacity. The audacity. Put your dirty ass feet on my body. Yes, can you believe it? Can you freaking believe that, dude? Yeah, if it was cold right now, maybe I would tolerate it. But I'm gonna turn into you've heard of swamp ass. Now get ready for swamp seated. I'll get swamp seated if you come and sit on top of my lap right now, dude. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to tell you no. Be firm. Be firm with it. Yeah. I'll freaking stand up for myself. I will. Yeah. Maybe you friends can tell me. Have you been making any decisions? Have you been making any decisions out of fear? I made it really relatable. I'm trying at least with the whole Black Friday sale fractal, right? Most of us can probably be like, yeah, I get what Melt is getting at. Hi guys, hey Nisha, it's nice having you here, friend. It's been a while. How's life treating you? We're having a conversation today about fear and decision making, specifically trying to separate the two, realizing that sometimes, especially these days, a lot of the decisions we make from a place of fear, right? I hate my job. I hate my coworkers. But I'm not going to quit because I'm scared. I won't get another job. I will, yay, live again. I'll back again, talking about bad Wi-Fi, and then it dies. Checks out. We expect as much sometimes. There's a lot to be scared of here in South Africa, in so many words. All right? South Africa has a relatively high rate of crime. All right? And I even had that conversation with Mo, the gardener that's employed. And I talked to him about how he asked me about dad, and he asked me about Colombia. And he has a phone, and, we gave him the Wi-Fi password as well. So he's also informed. And then he asks about dad going to Colombia, and he asks about, the boats getting bombed. And he's like, isn't your dad going to be in danger if he's going to, get Colombiaed or something? And then I try, at least in my mind, to alleviate some of that fear for him by reminding him that in the same way as South Africa, there are some places that are more dangerous than others. And as long as you don't find yourself in those dangerous places, you should be mostly fine. Sriracha? No way. Is it like actual Arpan days sriracha? Tell me if it is. If it is, it's been 3+ years sriracha. I have short hair now. Well, it's getting there again. I am technically growing it again. I'm gonna go back to having long hair. I think I'm gonna have long hair this time, but I'll have short sides. I think that's the plan. Yeah. I'm getting married. Yeah. I'm coming to America. Oh yeah. Despite everything that's going on. You see me scared? No. I make decisions for love. The sound is cutting out, but hi. Oh, jeez. That's thank you for letting me know. I'm gonna unplug my microphones. I don't know if it fixes it. I'm gonna exit out and come back again. And then I'll try back as well. This might be disturbing. How fear influences our decision making. That sounds pretty clear. At least it wasn't cutting out in that moment, but maybe it's not cutting out. Maybe my freaking necklace is hitting against the microphones again. I think that happened during that stream as well. I don't know how often it happens. I'm wearing Joe's half, and she's wearing my half, technically right now. I was wearing the other half for the first year that we didn't see one another after having seen each other. And when we finally get to be in the same space, we're both going to take our necklaces off and put them together, make something of them. Is there more spiders on me? I've already taken 2 spiders off of myself just today. Are we going for 3? Mojo said, before I read your messages, Shiracha, for me, fear sometimes results in analysis paralysis, and then I end up not doing anything. Maybe that's the exact decision fear most revels in having you make because of it. Language. Maybe fear wants you in that state of indecision. Maybe we're anthropomorphizing a little bit, but you living in that state of inaction, sure, it could keep you safe. You not going out to see, you not going out to celebrate your friend's birthday, technically keeps you safe from potential road accidents. True, right? Empirically. However, not being there for your friend and wanting them in your life and all they've been for you in your life, those 2 things aren't compatible. You can't have one without the other. You can't show up without risk. You can't love without the risk of pain. Right? It's just not how it works. Unfortunate, Matrice. It's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to make decisions from a place of love and not fear. And a part of me believes, right, in this hippie-ish way, that if I live in a place of love, and I make decisions from that place as well, and I die in the process, then I am going to a good place, because that was my momentum, right? If I'm fearful, and I always protect myself, and I always stay inside, and I never go out into the world to grow, to learn, to experience the wisdom, the beauty, the art of other people, then I'll eventually technically die. And if I never escape that fearful state, I don't know if I'm going to be dying in a good way. Right? I imagine there being even more fear. Even more fear than there needs to be. It's so nice having you friends here. Darren, I see Sam here too. Hey Sam. I did say hi to Mojo. The analysis paralysis, dude. I haven't said those words in a long time, but big deal. Do you get analysis paralysis? When you have so many options, that's option paralysis technically, right? When you have so many variables, let's say, that play a role in what it is you have to do next, especially so when it involves other people. As soon as you introduce just one other observer, the level of complexity and consideration that arises, I feel like that should be something more studied as well, is the differences in neural states depending on if you're in a shared space or if you're by yourself, or if you're in a shared space with 2 other people or 3 other people or 4 other people. What happens to your neural makeup, your brain signal firing? I think it would be a little bit hard to study it now in a meaningful way. But maybe eventually. I'm curious. I'm super curious because there definitely is something about it. In this moment, to me, usually, almost experientially, I try to talk as if I'm talking to you, while at the same time understanding that the you I'm talking to has many different instances of reception, which makes me consider the words I say a lot more, because it's important to me that I value your time. And I say that a lot, and a part of me at this point worries that my respect for your time and my communication of it over and over again is almost like a waste of time. Which is like counterintuitive, right? But maybe instead of saying thank you for your time, I should wow you with your time. And then there is this whole layer of decision making that arises, right? Where I'm scared sometimes as a creator that the stuff that I create is not valuable enough. And as a result, neither will I be. You know? And then if you make decisions from that fear, it shapes your life in a certain way. And I don't know if I want that. There is a certain appreciation I have. For example, right, and this is something that I know that I can't have always. But this morning, I did something that I consider dream surfing, where when you wake up in the morning and you've already technically gotten enough rest, right? You are well rested. You wake up and then you set a timer for between 10 and 20 minutes. Sometimes 5 minutes works as well. I've done that too. 5, 10, 15 minutes. And then you go into like a quiet space. Close your eyes. You breathe with intent. And then the timer goes off. And then you wake up enough to turn the timer off. But instead of turning the timer off, you start it up again. And then you go again. 15 minutes. And then it goes off. And then you hit it again. And you go again, 15 minutes. And if you do that for an extra hour, you'll experience a lot. And it's usually not something that you remember that much. I find myself recalling those dream surfs rarely. But I also recall myself going back for more. So clearly there's something of a, I want to say cathartic experience, snooze loop. Yeah. But like an intentional snooze loop, right? I'm snooze looping myself with mindfulness. I rarely do it just cause. Mindful snooze looping. That's relabeled dream surfing. Because there is dreams. They're all 100%. You're instantly back into the... We have Kira Burb here too. Kira Burbs, nice having you. Sound is better. I refreshed my app also. Perfect. My big decision, despite fear, was in June when I left my Delhi job to not work. How about that? How about that, Sriracha? You actually pushing yourself out of that comfort zone. There is a man, Teddy, I believe his name was. It was Viking Queen's husband. He passed. He was on the live stream, on the podcast with me, Johan, and Christian. And he had this philosophy on life that in order for you to push yourself, you need to make yourself so uncomfortable that you have no other option but to solve your problems. right? That's the best way for you to get where it is you're going, kind of thing. Put yourself in some ways uncomfortable positions, right? And it's, if you're like, I don't know if I want to do that, Mel, it can be as simple as starting to jog, right? Doing a plank, starting a yoga practice, and committing to doing it every day for a week and seeing how you feel. All right, that's a little bit uncomfortable. Oh, but I have other things to do. Yeah, there's so many things to do. But a 15-minute yoga practice is going to take very little of your time, relatively speaking. Right, 15 minutes is what, 1% of your day? A single percentage. A single percentage of daytime. Is that right? It feels like it's wrong. But I think it's right. I think an hour is 4% of your day, right? So 15 minutes by that reasoning should be 1. I'll come back to chat. Hey, Zhao is here too. Hey, Zhao. It's nice having you. Racha, hi, it's DJ. That's all. Yeah, I knew Kira burped with no Racha too. Darren, yo, I just rolled in a few minutes ago too. It's nice having you. Bless Sam. You invite me always. It's been a while. Fear is like selfish and gets a bad rap, but to me seems important. So I don't walk into a gorilla cage. Sorry, if you're like, why is he laughing at that? That part where Kobe was trying to get on my lap and I was making it clear that I don't consent, just came up to me on my stream, on my side of the screen. And you're like, what is Mel talking about? If you know, you know. You do. It's true. I'm back getting to the comments right now. Right, Darren said, fear is like selfish and gets a bad rap, but to me seems important. So I don't walk into a gorilla cage. There we go. That's the way it should have been read. Still funny. Still funny. But I don't walk into a gorilla cage necessarily because I'm scared. Right? Technically speaking, my reasoning for not walking into the gorilla cage isn't fear. It is almost like value assessment. Like there's nothing of value for me to gain by walking into a gorilla cage. Maybe some person thinks it's valuable enough. A close-up photo of a gorilla's face is valuable enough for them to walk into the cage. To myself, it's not, right? If there were a bunch of gold bars laying on the ground, right, all sprawled out, and there was a gorilla picking his teeth with what looks like human remains. I know gorillas are vegetarians. Entertain me while I entertain you, okay? Then there probably would be a little bit of fear arising in me, because now suddenly there is something of value to gain. I could get a gold bar, right? I could put it in a sock and have a self-defense weapon. Boom. Not against the gorilla, I mean when I take it back home. But yeah, and that way I feel like our decisions have evolved past just the fear response, right? It's not just fear stopping you from walking into the gorilla cage. And I feel if it's not just fear that can help you make a decision, then what else has an influence? And then I would like to believe that love is also a kind of decision or a kind of energy towards decision making. Fear, in a way, as you said, is like an energy of inaction. Inaction. Like, oh, I'm not going to walk into the gorilla cage because I'm scared. I'm not going to do this action because of this fear. Where love, in a way, could potentially, maybe you really love gorillas. You grew up watching Nat Geo, and gorillas are your favorite. You're like, they're so cool, the way they look. And you love Tarzan as a kid, and you're like, yeah, they're so cool, dude. I love them. And then you're like maybe a kid, right? 12-year-old or something. 12-year-old, I think, is some of your faculties are switched on. Let's say 8-year-old, and you're like, oh, I love gorillas. Runs into gorilla cage, right? In that way, fear isn't protecting that child from the gorilla cage, right? Which could be a detriment to them because of the power of love. And maybe that's the thing that I'm thinking. It's like, love in a way could be an overrider to fear. And I think fear in a way can definitely be an overrider to love. But again, the one is an action-based energy and the other is an inaction-based energy, right? Fearful things contract or run away. That's a type of action, I guess, but you're running away from the action. Which would be a good thing if the action is a bear coming at you, of course. That's something that I'm like, hey Google, are there bears in the Indiana Hoosier Forest?
No, Indiana.
Oh. Wait, I'm just going to ask the question again because I think you misunderstood me. Are there bears in the Indiana Hoosier National Forest? Oh, okay, good.
The Hoosier National Forest does not have a resident bear population. However, black bears occasionally wander into Indiana from neighboring states, and sightings are rare but confirmed.
Cool. Okay, that's fine. Black bears are fine. All right. Getting chased by a grizzly. I'll show back up on stream frazzled. I'll be worse for wear. Oh, I miss Viking Queen. Sending her and her little one so many blessings with ya. Fear, bless again, I've seen that one. It's definitely uncomfortable. Been avoiding the 100% mom life because it was scary. I can imagine. It's a lot. My mom did that, Shiracha. 100% mom life. Like, we were her whole world. School, food, homework, dressing, hygiene, repeat. And I actually had a conversation with mom just last night about the fact that next year is going to be one of the most transitional years of our entire household's lives. Right? Dad started working for a company that specializes in gold mining again. And it's the first time in almost like 7-ish years that he's entering a new year with all of this momentum. Right? And I want to say like hope as well, you know, for what kind of steps comes next. My sister is finishing, well, she finished, she's done. Sister finished high school. She's going to go and study food science next year. So going from being a high schooler to going to university, going out on her own in the world. My brother, he's getting married on the 24th of January. Big transitional year for him. Vessel, it's his first year that he's entering where he's completely living by himself as well. I am, of course, moving to America, getting married too, double transitions. And mom is transitioning to a world of having kids in the home to having none. Right? And the conversation arose while I was complimenting her crafts she's been making. I wonder, I can show you. I think you're going to see something that feels, because I've showed you some of the stuff that I make, right? And it feels like, again, mom's DNA, like influencing me kind of stuff. Hello, Eva. Hello, Eva. Hello. Hello, Eva. Hi. What? Is Eva getting attention? I would like to have some attention, please. I would also like to have some attention. Oh, I would. Solomon creatures. All right. Yeah. There they are. So these are hot plates, right? Something that you put down so you don't scorch your tablecloth. And we have a little giveaway Christmas thing happening. So you're supposed to bring about 200 Rand, which is about $10 worth as a gift. And I would like to argue, and I think it's agreed upon, I think the actual wood underneath is close to $10. They have nice little feetsies too. Yeah. And I was like complimenting mom about her skewers. She's the one who cut these things out, by the way, by hand. All of these are cut out by hand. And so many of these, I don't know if so many, but many of these little stickers, these little butterflies, were cut out back when I was a 5-year-old. And then they got put in that thing. You can see the amount of dust on it. They got put on this thing, and then this thing got put in storage, where all storage is relative. It got put in the garage, essentially. And mom doesn't go to the garage. And so it just stayed there. And she brought out, made that stuff. And of course, you friends know, right? Like I just happened, of course, the Jupiter, but it's one of mine. Yeah. Same, but different, right? This, we had these also since then, like these also all been like against my bed for the last 20 plus years. Stickers. The stickers. The stickers. The stickers. It's almost bigger. So it felt like I was connected to mom, like understanding why it is she's doing that and celebrating that she's going to do a lot more artsy stuff. That's the transition that she's looking forward to in her life, is that with so much less to do, she doesn't have any kids to take care of. She's not at the whims of our routines. She is going to start doing a lot more art, making stuff. And I look forward to seeing what mom makes as well. It's nice to be able to share with you, friends. Send nice things in chat. I'm going to tell mom you said nice things anyway, but it helps if you actually say nice things. So I'm not a liar. I definitely, bless again, I think I'm pretty comfy with being uncomfortable, but I'm not very happy about it. Yeah. Happiness is a very relative thing. And I can see maybe this is an assumption or a projection, but I imagine that you are one of those people that are willing to give up their own happiness for the happiness of others, right? And that's why you have the ability to be uncomfortable so that someone else can be comfortable. and you're happy to be uncomfortable so they can be comfortable, but you're not happy about the discomfort. Right? Love is true, Kir Burb. So much love to you. Joe, blessing all of our friends too. Kira Burb and Nancy, and Nisha, and Sharacha, and Darren, and Adamson. Adamson is here. I missed Adamson. Thank you, Joe, for echoing. Sam and Mojo and MeltMore, getting ready for work. Lurky love, y'all. Love you, Zhao. Holding you here with us. I can finally catch some streams now that I'm waking up at 4:30 a.m. Why are you waking at 4:30 a.m.? Is that a part of the stay-at-home momming? Did you have a baby recently, Sriracha? I don't mean to pry, but if you want to tell me, I'm all ears. Love is true. GBs. What a transformation and transition. That must be in life as well, if it is. Lol, this is one fierce gorilla. What up, Gorilla Glue? Paralyzing fear is such a jerk. Hate it. If Harambe were alive to discuss this with us, he'd say it was wisdom keeping you from walking into his cage. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Sam also adding some of that good. It's true. It's true. It's not just fear. A lot of non-decision based on fear, 100%. So true. We have mountain lions here, 100%. If I stop showing up, it's because I something I shouldn't. You just see these cute little ears, and then you realize that that little cat wasn't a little cat. It was just really far away, and it is now rapidly closing the gap. The fear didn't work before it was supposed to. The lion Sam, morning, minding momentum moving. Oh yeah, it's a very transitional time in a lot of people's lives, universally it seems. That is amazing. I'm excited for your mom. Love is true. Thank you, Sriracha. It's true. It's true. Many of us, and I think you can feel it, right? All of us can kind of feel it. It's clear that that's what's happening, slowly but surely. And it is a little bit, if not a lot, of change that's going to collectively come to our entire species. And all of us will be tasked to consciously evolve, right? We'll be learning a lot from life. A lot. We're going to learn so much from life. It's going to be right. Betcha. Oh, betcha. And if you can be honest and if you can be vulnerable in that process, that's the best way to be okay, right? As soon as you try and be completely locked away and alone, fearful, right, of how you're going to be perceived if you share what's on your heart, right, what's happening in your experience. That's the worst place to be. Being alone, feeling alone when you're not. Rough. Big rough. That is amazing. I'm excited for your mom. Bless again. I think I've read it one. Well, echo it again. Wow, gorgeous, beautiful. I love collage art like that. So much love. Goodness, that's so sweet. They're beautiful. Whomever receives those will be very happy to add them to their usable kitchen art pieces. Exactly. Bless. Thank you, friends. Very correct, Melty. Love you. Love it. You, friends. I really appreciate all of this love. I'll be sure to let mom know. I mean, how cool are butterflies? A little piece of art through the sky, literally. I've never looked at a butterfly and felt anything other than amazement and awe and a sense of tranquility that washes over me watching them flutter. Actually, my brain was like, oh yeah, ruffles through all of my memories, brings out this one sliver where I was in that state of awe and amazement and wonderment. looking at a little butterfly flying through the air, and then a bird came snatching it out of the air in front of me, and I was like, oh, oh wow. Oh, sheeps, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Darren, I'm sorry. That's why I wake 4:30, so my son can participate in swimming at 5:30 a.m. I was one of those kids. I was one of the kids that was swimming at 5:30 a.m. as well before school. So, yeah, I didn't like it either. I don't think he likes it. I don't know if he likes it. I don't know if he likes it. Maybe he does. I didn't like it much. I did it because it was good for me, right? And my mom demanded it, basically. I didn't really have an option. My mom was like, "You are going to do a sport. You can pick. You can pick. Whatever one you pick, you do. But you're gonna do something. You're gonna do sport." Yeah, I respect her for it. So I swam and I sharpshooted. Shootery sharpers. Do you have sharpshooting in your high schools? I think that's one of the cheaper, like, hobbyist sports. Is it a hobbyist sport? It is in the Olympics, technically. It was fun, but I never had my own weapon. It's not really a weapon, technically. I mean, depending on who the enemy is. If you're fighting rats, weapon. I'm sorry, I'm getting like sidetracked here. That was so long ago. That's basically decade and a bit. I did it as a 16 and 17-year-old. And it was this thing of like, I wanted to practice in the real world. Right? Being in a room, sure there's less wind and stuff, I guess. But being in a room and shooting at a little plaque that had little targets on it didn't felt very, it became very boring really quickly. Because I was hitting the targets, right? I was hitting the targets. I'm trying to always in my mind think, because there was a point at which I stopped. And I don't think I took up another sport after that. And the reason I stopped is because I didn't have a weapon of my own. And then there was this thing where you would use the schools, and then depending on when you were shooting, you would have to use a different weapon. And then there were different setups, and then you would have to get used to a whole new configuration, find whole new comfort. And maybe that's a good learning process, sure, right? Getting comfortable with many different, setups. But if you want to get good, right? If you want to achieve the highest honors, if you want to participate skillfully, you need to be practicing a lot and get good. And I could see the trajectory, of what it would take for me to get as good as I would want to be. And I did not see it as valuable, right? At least not valuable enough to really try and convince my parents to buy me, a instrument, right? Like, I'm imagining it like you're playing hockey, right? You want your own stick. You're playing rugby, you want your own boots and head protection or whatever. You're playing Any sport, you want your own gear. And that was one of those, right? You don't want to wear someone else's Speedo when you're swimming. But again, that was, technically speaking, out of all of the sports that were provided from the school, the most expensive gear. It was like $400, I think. $400 for a pellet gun of my own. I'm going down the rabbit hole of like the decision making of stopping. And again, I think there's a part of it that's fear, you know? Like looking back, I can see how I convinced myself the reason I wasn't going to commit and pursue it with genuine commitment, really like, you know the way I commit myself sometimes, is because I didn't have my own gear. Like I'm not going to be able to as comfortably do a live stream every day if I had to borrow someone else's phone every time, right? Different phone every time. But ultimately, really, it probably was a certain type of fear. I did technically start later. I started when I was 16, and you can start when you're 14, right? So I lost a few years of practice against my peers. And I did shoot worse than the top performer in my bracket. Not a lot worse, like 7 points on 200 on average. But it was like, there are like 20 little sheets, I think. 20 little, is it 20? I think it might be 20. 4x5. 20 little things, right? And on 20 of those, on 7 of those 20, he would shoot better than me, right? And I just felt the only way for me to close the gap, because he was one of the people who would bring his own pellet. And I'm just like watching my then 16-year-old brain like reason. It's like, yes, I'm scared that I'm not good enough. I'm scared that I can't compete at the same level as this peer of mine because I don't have the same gear that he does. So I'm just not gonna try, actually. I'll just not try instead. Then I don't have to say that I lost fair and square. Oh, yeah. How about that? As human beings, so crafty in our narratives. That is brutal. I think I missed some. Racha. Okay, there we go. Completely put my art aside so I can be there for my kids right now. Both kids in new schools this year. That is a big change. That is brutal, but woo, a mom. Let me ask, exactly how long am I going to be tired as fuck? It's been 10 months and I still feel like I got hit by a truck. Have you been taking creatine, Sam? I'm not even joking. I'm being dead serious. Have you been taking creatine? You built a body, literal physical human body, out of your biology and stuff, right? You need to give yourself that stuff back. And right now, sleep is probably something that you lack. And one of the biggest things that helps, it's not a cure-all. It's not going to make it better for your brain, technically, but it will make you feel better experientially. Are you taking creatine? Are you drinking creatine? It's really cheap. It's in South Africa, we pay $20 for like 2 pounds, I think. It's like that level of cheap. You can find expensive ones if you want to buy it from some fancy brand, but The actual molecule is relatively simple to make and really cheap, abundantly so. Make sure you get some creatine in your body, please, Sam. Please. Please, for the sake of your brain. Do a lot. Do like 20 grams a day for the first 7 days. Seriously. Saturate your brain with creatine. You need it. It's like some of you are like, Melt is talking about some whack stuff, and some of you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you're like, uh-huh. Uh-huh, must do. Try it. Sam, I'll let you know when I'm not tired anymore. My oldest is 20. No, my son is 14 and entered high school. Okay. Daughter entered middle school this year. Youngest is 11. Baby factory closed forever. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I have an aunt. My dad's brother, eldest brother, had Isaac when their youngest was 12, I think. Their youngest then, I think, was 12. No, I think it was. I think she was 14. If she's not even older than that, I think like he was like so late, really late, and he's their fifth child. So all of us, literally, like, yeah, I think literally all of us are 18 and older. I think Isaac is like 5 right now. That's right. Yeah, so all of us are 18 and older, and he's 5. And it's wild, right? Because like he's still their sibling, but all of us are like adults. All of them, you know, are basically like the equivalent of parents to him. Can take care of him, can be the adult, can be the responsible one in any situation, right? Yeah, the baby factory wasn't closed. And again, it's still beautiful. He's still very loved. But again, I can't imagine. That is a lot. I wonder how many apples we've watched dear Racha eat over her stream. What's your interest in live streaming? Trying to get into Goonies? I'm lost. Sincerely, Sam, the bone-weary exhaustion will end soon. Yeah, I trust. The baby process and the sleepless nights is the biggest part of it. I'm holding you to that, Kira. I promise, Sam. Do the creatine too. Please, Sam, please. I'm not trying to sell you something. It's one of the cheapest products you can buy. Do your own research, right? Do your own research. Go and search, right? I'll be like, I'll help. I'm helping. I'm helping them. One of my friends is a new mother. Sometimes not sleeping enough, always being on call, doing a lot. She just asked, at what point is she going to stop being tired? I instantly recommended that she starts taking creatine. Can you back me up? Oh, it didn't listen to any of that. You know what? actually, actually, do your own research. Yeah, that's how you'll get an answer. I promise. And then you can ask it to cited sources if you want that too. All this kid wants to do right now is work on standing up and demolish every speck of egg salad I offer him. All he does is work out and slam protein, you guys. I thought I had more time than this. Nope. Ma. I need to become super soldier. Ma. Give me egg salad. You should buy him like small little kids exercise equipment. Sam is like, are you fucking insane? Yes. I think he'd love it. I think you should get him something that has like a solid bar. Make it relatively heavy. All right. Make it like a pound. And then have it on some type of like coaster wheels. right? Relatively big. And then he can like, of course, and he can also like have fun rolling and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, get him super jacked. Let him develop all of those core muscles and articulating, like, yeah. That's good stuff. It's good stuff, right? Instead of like putting a tablet down in front of him. Or if you're going to put a tablet down in front of him, right, like let him climb a little obstacle course so he can get to the tablet. Am I going to be a bad parent? No, I'm going to be a fantastic one. My kid is going to be able to win against me in a fist fight when he's 7 years old. And I'm going to lose one because I tried to take the tablet away after he completed the obstacle course. They let you pick. I played softball because dad said I was playing softball. That sucks. Yeah, my parents were at least chill on that. They were like hard on a sport needs to be played, but they were like lenient with what sport needs to be played or done, participated within. Sam, congrats on having a bodybuilder baby. Also, if I was close, I'd happily babysit. That's wholesome shooting. Then take criminology joke. I don't exactly get the joke, but hi. It's nice having you here with us, Seth. Is it Seth? Yeah, Seth Lockhart. How about that? Some sinkies, huh, Sam? As we're talking about your little dude. How can you get sidetracked off of not being on a track? Good question. I think if anything, if I'm trying to keep myself aligned with a certain topic, right? And we start talking about food, for example. If we start talking about what kind of mayonnaise Sam uses in her egg salad, now we're off track. All right? You see what I mean? We can have a conversation about that, sure. But I think mayonnaise is bad for you. And then my being back on track could make you feel like I'm off track because you don't want to hear that. You don't want to think about seed oils right now. Right? Right? You feel the off trackness? It's happening. It's happening. Oh, yeah, my son loves it. I picked swimming for him in his early years, and he is continuing and loving it. Good. He also does cross country. We have archery, but not in high school. Interesting. I'm a good archer too. Yeah. I can hit a orange at about 100 feet with a bow and arrow. Well, with a compound bow and arrow. Right? It makes a difference. And I can do that like repeatedly. I will be hunting for my food next year. I don't know if I'll be doing it right off the bat. I think I can only do it in a certain season as well. But that's going to happen, friends. I'm going to start hunting for my food. The one thing, every single person that has been to America, that I tell I'm going to America, the one thing they stress, that they try to impress upon me, is that I have to be careful with what I eat. Like to the point where it's like, bro, there's some of the food that is actual poison and some of the food that is less poison. And I'm like, uh-huh. It's like, and you have to pay more money for the less poison. And yeah, so I'm going to go find myself some deer. I'm going to go shopping in the forest. I don't know how you feel about that, dear friends. We are definitely a hippie community here. There is at least, if that tempers your heart's rage, an overpopulation problem. There are so many of them that Joe has to have her vegetables like barbed wired closed. Otherwise, the deer are going to eat all of her vegetables. And it happens very consistently, unfortunately. Uh, and Joe, remember that you had that pumpkin planted? I just had this thought that that deer probably ate someone else's pumpkins and then came and pooped on your yard while eating your vegetables, and that's how you got the pumpkins or something. That's what I'm imagining happened now suddenly. I don't know if she's here, but I'm sending her that little mind fractal. Swimming and cross country are both quite demanding. Does he do anything like yoga to improve his agility or flexibility? Good questions. Uh, good to practice. Easily driven. So much wiggle. This man, let him wiggle. I see wiggle people. That's wonderful, Raj. He does biking and hiking with scouts too for relaxing. Yeah, biking and hiking are also pretty strenuous activities. He needs to do stretching as well as a little bit, like learn how to stretch while he's still flexible as a kid as well. Kind of don't understand your channel. Can you explain? I don't think my channel is something that needs to be understood as much as it's just something to be a part of as an experience, right? Every single day we show up and I do something that I consider is conscious evolution, all right? Consciously evolve. Every single day I get to consider my life as it relates to this grander extreme of which we're all a part of. And then I get to, at least in my way, relate to a certain topic. Today's topic that we're trying to relate to is fear and how it influences our decision making, and how fear has influenced my decision making, and how if fear has the ability to influence your decision making, what else does? And we had Sam share with us that knowledge can influence your decision making as well. And I believe love is the best thing that can influence your decision making. The way that it ended up registering is that love is the kind of influence that calls you to action, to do things, and fear can be the kind of energy that stops you from action, not doing that thing that could be potentially dangerous. And that's what today's lesson, at least for me, was. That's the lesson that I've learned from life in showing up in this space and participating in this conversation with you friends. I learned something about my younger self as well, and about the kind of stories that I used to tell myself in order to escape the potential embarrassment, if you will, that would come with losing, right? So, yeah, I try to see life as my teacher. And every single day that I show up here from a place of love for life, life teaches me how to love. And I try to teach that to you friends as well. And you friends have taught me how to love too. And as we continue to show up, all of us in this space continues to consciously evolve forward. That would be my best description of what's happening here. Melty will definitely read your message, DJ. I have. Thank you, Kira Burb. Tooth, when you are at work and instead of work, you're drawing up ecodomes and all of a sudden you get the urge to eat, my brain is always like 20 tasks. There you go. Yeah, sidetracked. 1790 is the code to being dead, then build life, then live the life of creatine, and creatine, the life of love. Yeah, yes. I agree. The life of love. I agree. Life of love. Creatine? No, I'm not. I'll be looking into it though. Thank you. Please. Like that's right now, when it comes to the effectiveness of the price and the actual method of action, I can give you the understanding that I have as well. Creatine is essentially a molecule that you get mostly in red meat. And its function is essentially twofold. It encourages the production of ATP, and it also increases the level of water retention in your body, right? And that can sound like a bad thing, but you being more hydrated, every single one of your cells being more hydrated, really isn't. Really is not a bad thing, right? And then the actual creatine, that adenosine triphosphate, almost like awakening effect, your brain, when you're thinking, the units of energy that it uses to think and to process information and to not feel tired is adenosine triphosphate. When you get tired, it's because you have so much adenosine in your brain that it starts plugging all of the adenosine receptors. When you drink caffeine, it plugs those adenosine receptors so that the adenosine can bond with it. Where creatine like almost like increases, I believe, the bioavailability of the adenosine in your brain as well, which makes you feel a little bit less tired, right? It improves the energy systems in your entire body. But at that concentration, it starts to migrate into your brain, right? And you want a high concentration of creatine literally in your brain, right? And you can go and search why. Why? I've given you cliff notes, right? I am no scientist. I listen to the sciences when it comes to this stuff. And I've seen it help in my personal journey as well. Like if I didn't get enough sleep and I, make sure I get enough creatine in, I suddenly feel not like a zombie, right? I can still feel like I'm a little bit low energy, but at least I'm not a zombie. I'm not that brain fog or this can't form, a coherent thought kind of experience. My big decision, I think I've read that one. I'm so far behind, I think still I'm coming. Yeah, I don't like the sports that are gear based to improve skill. My brother mentioned creatine the other day when he found out I was waking up so early. Yup, same reasoning, right? Like the less sleep you get. So when you like, let's just do a deep dive. Let's do a deep dive. I am exploring the use of creatine with my friends right now. One of them is a new mother, and the baby is only 10 months old. And she just asked if she's ever going to stop being tired. And the other is a mother of almost teenagers. Mostly of them are basically teenagers. And she's waking up very early in the mornings right now. And creatine was recommended to her as well. Can you give us a concise explanation of what creatine does in the body and specifically in the brain, and especially as it relates to those who tend to be sleep deprived because of all of the responsibilities they have in, for example, this case, child rearing. I'm going to use the screen now. I'm afraid of mayo. Me too. I'm literally afraid of mayo. Like, I don't eat that stuff. Uh, I love mayo, especially a good aioli. Okay, yeah, because then it's actually made with some decent oils. But that's the big thing you want to look out for, right? The quality of your oil makes the quality of your mayo. And if there's like some nondescript oil labeled on your mayo, that's probably not a good thing. My brother, the doctor, bodybuilder, highly recommends creatine. I love how there's like a few anecdotes popping up. Also, top of the early days, I'm doing a 3-day fast. Today is day 2. That's awesome. I just did a 3-day fast starting Thursday night, finishing it Sunday night. Congratulations, Shiracha. That's good stuff. My mom started doing fasts recently as well. I think the longest she's went is 3 days as well now. So bless you, friend. It's so awesome to know that so many more mothers are actually embracing these ancient technologies, right? Fasting is really good for your body. Don't creatine give you tummy issues? No, not really. There can be, like, if you get tummy issues from the creatine, you can get a different kind of molecule, right? It's a digestion thing sometimes. That pandemic, baby. Winning combo for unlimited energy, creatine. No, stop, Mojo. I think you would. You would have unlimited energy because the methamphetamine would give you dopamine, right? And the creatine would give you the adenosine to use and use. Yeah, that's horrible. Please don't do it for me. I'm feeding Godzilla. Creatine is a compound that can be supplemented, while creatinine is a waste product of the body. How about that? I make eggs for my son and a fruit protein shake before his swim. He's a freshman and he's also caught up to the fastest CDR. Nice. You're feeding him that good food, giving his body what it needs to grow right now. If Mr. Meltmore live streamed himself sporting or doing obstacle course, maybe in the 2000s, so literal. Well, maybe next year, right? I'm going to I don't know if you know if you heard Hoopy. Next year, I will be EUCing. That's going to become a part of our streams and stuff, right? I don't know how I'm going to implement it, and it's probably not going to happen instantly, but that's going to be a part of it, and that's a kind of sport, and I can do kinds of obstacle courses. I don't want to have obstacle sounds maybe too much, but course, I could do course. Maybe next year. Sam uses Miracle Whip. Mayo is nasty. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't participate in any sports. Both parents work so much. So I think I'm going totally the other side. I'm happy that you're there to support them the way you are, Sriracha. It means a lot to us as kids. We're gonna what? For food? I think I misheard. I think I missed as well. Food? A topic we don't touch because Melt said it's against the rules. No, I didn't say it's against the rules. I just say no food talk, right? There's no rules. There will never be rules where it's like you are not allowed to talk about food, right? And then if you're like, oh, I would really like to go for a taco right now, then my robo guards come out with their softened batons and they just like beat you, beat you to the ground. No food talk. No, it's not like that. It's more like in the moment, I go no food talk, right? If I'm talking about the depth of, pain I felt in the losing of a beloved pet, right? And the way that that changed me. And you're suddenly, you see, I would really like to go for a taco right now. I'll fucking lose my mind though. I'll be like, I'm in the middle of something here, and you want to talk about tacos. I'm crying, and you want tacos, right? It's kind of like that. It's ego, 100% ego, hoopty hoops. But I'm more than willing to like acknowledge that I have that. Be completely like, yeah, yeah, of course, I think I am. The thinking of the I am is the part that becomes ego. I am before I think, but I can't detach. I can melt my ego over and over again, and I do in this space. All right, put myself in the spotlight, burning away what isn't me. Yeah, food talk, bro. I enjoy food as much as the next person, but there's also the other layer of you cannot think about how to, for instance, change the world as a grandiose extreme, and also think about what you want to eat later simultaneously, right? You can't think about how to solve a problem that is, complicated, and also think, do I want to eat tacos or pizza? Do I want to eat tacos or pizza? Right? You have to focus. Sometimes you have to focus. And we start thinking about food when we're hungry. But as soon as we've eaten enough, then ideally we stop thinking about food again and we can focus. Use the energy we've consumed to focus. Apply ourselves appropriately. You know what I mean? It can't be that against the rules, considering I bring it up nearly every day. Exactly, Sam. And I've never sent my robots to soften baton you. I had nice deer burrito from the corner food truck that was quite good. Deer burritos. There you go, Joe. That sounds awesome. I was literally like nudging Joe to be like, hey, Joe, did you hear that? Deer burritos. And then the next comment, okay, the next comment is Joe's message that says, that sounds awesome, hoops. Yeah, we'll do that. How can you not talk about food We gotta talk about food, and we do. We'll talk about food when it's the topic, when we have transitioned into the topic of food, the way we have. Right? This still feels like it has depth beyond just what it is we'll eat. There is another layer to it, right? As it relates to everybody else that might be hungry in this moment, might be on their way to get something. Y'all there? Not sure. My chit chats are going through. I'm seeing them now, Dan. Sorry, bro. Sending you love, bro. Joe. They also do fish with cheese brisket burrito with cheese. The deer burrito has cheese. And then they do a shrimp burger. That's not cheese. Shrimp burger? I've never had that either. Yeah. America foods, huh? I'm going to definitely have a bunch of stuff that I never even thought existed. That's like my favorite, obviously. Yeah, Kira, Chipotle mayo sauce. There we go. Hoops. You are brave with food. Oh, crap. Dan Gray. I guess I'm not so afraid of mayo then. Kira, it is a well-known saying that the occasion will eat anything that will not eat him first. That occasion will eat anything that will not eat him first. A cajun. Okay, that makes more sense. A cajun? A cajun? Is it like those big lizard monsters? Is that a kaju? What's a cajun? I don't know what a cajun is. A cajun will eat anything that will not eat him first. Oops, I don't know how, but I read the original as cajun before you corrected it. There we go. That's awesome. The mind sinks. Yeah, it's fire. It's a solid bean. It's a solid base for stuff. Another favorite is mayo with spicy Dijon on ham and cheese. True. Melt. You make life less scary. Thank you. I can't tell you how hard those words hit me, Rubber. Thank you for saying that. That's, in so many ways, one of the objectives of this stream. It's the highest ideal I could have hoped for. You make life feel less scary. Yo. Thank you, Kira. Joe says, both action and stillness, non-action, are forms of action. Fear can drive quick movement or paralysis, but love allows us to be steady and choose direction wisely with trust and discernment. It's true. Who was it who said, was it Dan who said that love is the way that God communicates to us? Maybe you could correct me, Dan, but I'm feeling that energy from you as well right now, Joe. That when we love, we have a lot more discernment where it is we're going. It's like leading with your heart kind of thing, right? Joe, can you live in my head for a little bit? That is true. Javan, there's a Rush lyric that says, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. Oh yeah. Oh damn, Dream is Hoopy. Yep, my bad. Yeah, Dream is Hoopy. My bad, I didn't know. Lol. What is EUCing? Electric unicycling. And some people want to call it a one wheel because it has one wheel, but it's not a one wheel. A one wheel is technically a product. However, I am willing to concede. I know that Joe might call my EUC a one wheel. She probably will. And I'll be agreeing. I'll probably in our private time call it a one wheel too. If none of the other EUC people can hear me. But it's an electric unicycle, hoopy hoops. It is a 2,500 watt nominal, 7,000 watt peak motor, hollow motor, strapped to an 18-inch wheel, strapped to a suspension system, strapped to 1,500 watt hours of batteries, strapped to a case that holds all of those things together. And then you get on it. And then it has a pendulum balancer, gyroscope, where if it leans forward, the wheel wants to correct it upwards. If it leans back, the wheel wants to correct it so it's always upright. And then you stand on it. And if you lean forward, you drive forward. It's like leading with your heart. They say it's the closest thing you can get to flying, right? Other than like flying in the way where you're like Superman, right? Where you're like just, it's the closest thing. The closest thing that you can get to that. And I'm like, bet. I've been like betting, hoping, wishing, manifesting so long the EUC fractal. If Duck Dad finds out, I can't wait to tell Duck Dad. I'll tell him as soon as he's back. Maybe I'll have a video of him joining while it's happening. Rod took me a while to know that too. The only food we can't talk about is, I don't know what that is even. There's no rules. He's lying. No spam. No booty talk unless you're ready to share the loot. I don't know what that means, but that concerns me. And no food talk. But one is far less enforced than the other two. Yeah, it's true. Again, it's a matter of almost discernment, right? If I'm pouring my heart out, right, on the verge of tears, and then you start talking about food. It's not that you're not allowed to do that, but I won't be able to, in that moment, entertain it, right? It won't be something I'm like, oh yeah, let's talk about hot dogs now. Wipes tears off of my face, all right? And it's like, it's a little bit jarring. No, Melt, food is a primal thing. It's in our DNA. Think how many lives in which you starved to death to get to this one. Yeah, and I'm not arguing with that, Dan. What I'm saying, at least in this current iteration of life, I don't have to make food as big as a worry as it used to be back in the day, right? And in that way, the food talk led to me disclaiming that I'm going to be hunting my own food next year with that in mind, right? So that primalness is something that I'm going like full force towards, right? Like, oh, we're going to talk about food? Do you hunt your own deer? No? Then you ain't got no right. And I'm not saying that that's the way I think. I'm just like leaning into the whole, I get it. I really do. Food is probably one of the most I want to say underrated and important, consequential. That's the right word. Food is one of the most consequential things of your life. Yeah. Yeah, that's the statement. Ooh. Yeah. Because, yeah, you know, all right? You keep eating a bunch of stuff that's not good for you in excess, and you sit on the couch while doing that, the consequences are going to be visible, slowly but surely. You won't die of a heart attack instantly, but you will start noticing the consequences along the way, right? And in that way, it's kind of cool that we can have such a relationship with food, where the consequences of abuse of that relationship is made so physically clear. There's not many things that's like that, right? Like some people can abuse certain drugs without the physical consequences being visible or noticeable to them at first, kind of thing. One wheel, Hoopy. whether he talks about an EUC, he's referring to a one wheel. No, no, I'm actually not. When I'm referring to when I talk about an EUC, I'm talking about an EUC. And when I it's not the same thing. It's like it's like snowboarding and skiing, right? If I say me and my family skis together, you imagine me on two pedals or on two little long skis, right? With maybe some sticks. We're gonna go ski, right? And if I say I'm gonna go snowboard, then it's like one big board below me and I'm going sideways. All right, that's the difference between EUC and one wheel. One is the skis, which I made sound not so cool, and I made the sideways sound cooler. But technically, ergonomically speaking, driving like this is not good for you long term. Actually, all right, we're not made for moving sideways like crabs. We're made for moving forward. Right. Poor Raj, day two of a fast. No, it feels good. Day two is the best one. Then there's a whole chapter about action and inaction and the choices we make regarding them and about Bhagavad Gita too, in the way that it relates to one's dharma, your soul's purpose. We're always making decisions, even in the choice to make a decision. Subscription-based service. I think I missed the context. Even in the decision to make a decision. We can think about food and changing the world simultaneously. It's called swaggered products and services. Bruh, at this point then, if we actually do swaggered at some point, you have to give me at least like 4.44% of the company, dude. I heard Dan's ear peak for a second there. He's like, how much will Melt ask for? You thought I was gonna ask for half, didn't you? No, bro. I'm not that greedy. Oh. You can keep 90+% though. You're gonna do most of the work anyway. Nudge, nudge. I just want 4%. Just 4%. Swaggered products and services. I'll be swaggered. I'll go out on my EUC and be like, oh, what a ride. I'm parched and a little bit hungry. I got swaggered in my baggart. And then I get stoned by a bunch of tree people. You thought I was gonna say something stereotypical, didn't you? Boom. Get misdirected. It's a subscription-based service. They deliver it to your mailbox. The Swaggart. Imagine, I can make it look good. Big old cardboard box with just a bunch of rows of Swaggart. Right? Each row different flavor. I love that. I'm down for it. Swaggart Products and Services presents MeltMore. Melt and Swag sold separately. You can buy some of me. Suddenly there's like PTSD flashbacks. Please, internet, stop. Love is the form of energy. Yes, God uses to communicate. There it is, Dan. That is such a good line, bro. Thank you so much. We love you, Kira Burb. Love you, Zhao. Echoing the sentiment too. You see, like, this is one of those things. Like, I'm part of me feels like Zhao was sharing wisdom from the Bhagavad Gita. And then Swaggart. Right? And there's nothing wrong with Swaggart. But it just feels like they're two different worlds. They're two different worlds. Maybe we can make them kiss. You know? Find somewhere in the Bhagavad Gita where it predicts Swaggart's return to the. I'm gonna stop. Oh, but no, please. The word booty can either refer to the dump truck region of the body, or it can refer to the collection of jewelry, treasures, and land deeds discovered on a remote island. Hello, Mama. Oh, thank you. Värderat. Or it can be land deed discovered on a remote island by an eye patch. Yeah. But like again, both of those, like I can get behind getting my name on the deed as well, getting a gold coin from the treasures, having a cool earring from from the jewelries. I could get behind that. However, sharing the dump truck region of the body, that's the part where I was like, this is up for interpretation. So I needed the giggles you're giving. Intention, the words of code for all life. When looking at something, how fast do we put words to it without understanding the intention? The intention of why it is we want to put words to it, or the intention of why that thing is in the first place, right? So like that in me at Darren arises two fractals of like one is like looking at a tree, and one is looking at a piece of art, right? Hello, Oma. Looking at a piece of art, you can, as you said, uh, put be fast to try and put it to words, right? Without understanding the intent. But with an artist, I feel like there is some sort of definable intent behind that. Where if you're looking at a tree and trying to define the beauty that you're seeing, suddenly the intent is a little bit more ambiguous. It's not the same thing. If love is true and there is no separation, then yes, one wheel and EUC are the same thing. No, no, Sam. By that, by that definition, iPhone and Samsung is also the same thing, right? Like that's the kind of like stake I'm taking. It's like an iPhone and Samsung thing. I personally am an Android user. I choose to be an Android user. I've been using Samsung's products. Let me say that instead. I've had my gripes, TBH, but I keep keep using Samsung products since I was a 14-year-old. Right, so it's been a decade and a bit now, and I've never used an iPhone. And if I was holding a Samsung, and someone goes, "Oh, can I see your iPhone?" I first thing I do is I go, "It's not an iPhone. This is not an iPhone." Right? And if someone looks at the EUC and goes, "Nice one wheel," I'm gonna go, "This is not a one wheel. I know it has one wheel. I know. I know. It got co-opted. Maybe that's what you're saying, Sam. You're trying to take it away, but you even use the words. You even capitalize the W, taking the word for themselves, trademarking the word one wheel. Can you believe it? But you're right. And as I said, like in the home, I'm gonna be okay with it. I'm gonna be when Joe is like, "Be safe on your one wheel," I'm gonna say, "Thank you, my love. Thank you, thank you." I'm not gonna say it's not a one wheel. I'll be like, "Thank you. I will be safe on my singular wheel that's underneath me. It is one wheel. It is. Look, it is just one wheel. It is true." Bro, you're gonna be face of the swagger. What are you talking about? Get ready to quit your day job. I'm just imagining like the ads. I'm imagining like the AI ads that we can do where I'm like I'm like just normal melt, just like chilling. For some reason I'm getting ping chilling. I'm getting ping chilling. Stop ping chilling me. Ping chilling. I'm just ping chilling, and then I take a swig of swaggers, and then just like energy flowing past my body, my hair, kind of like getting pulled by all of this energy. Face face explodes. Shades fly from the distance, being pushed by the same energy onto my face. All right, gold chains wrap themselves around me. I don't know what's swag these days. You let me know. It's like, yeah, yeah. You don't need all these things. And then as soon as I like open my eyes again, like, oh, I come back to it, and I open my eyes, and like, oh, I don't have all of the chains on me, and technically I don't have shades on, but it felt that way for a second, and that's pretty cool. Boom, by swaggered. Indecision makes me feel so much extra fear, and it's a vicious cycle. Agrophobic, TG isn't the best version of me. Oh yeah, electric unicycle, exactly. You know what a unicycle is, right? Pedals, seat, single wheel underneath. All right. With a unicycle, you have to use your feet to like balance yourself. You are the balancer, and you are the energy source, and you are the battery for the energy that it requires to continue riding that thing. Where if you attach a bunch of electronics to it, motor, battery management, batteries, and controllers that has gyroscopic sensors in them, then it auto balances. And the input is your body weight as to where does you want to go with it. With big fat tires for off-road. It doesn't have big fat tires. It has a 18-inch wheel with a 3-inch wideness. So it's wide enough to go off-road. It's not as like thin as one of those little like speed bikes kind of thing. So I will be able to go on like hiking trails with it. But off-road, like you can ride it on grass, easy. When I think off-road, I think South African off-road, right? Where it's like it's a rough. Some parts I wouldn't want to go with it, just because I'd get clipped by like thorny bushes. You see, so you will be on a unicycle. Yes, yes, in so many words, exactly. One monster truck wheel with a mini seat, exactly. I need to get myself a mini seat. The one I got didn't come with one. That's extra, of course. Like $80. $80 for a piece of foam. Scam. Freaking getting scammed by the ecosystem already. Another bingo square. See him trying to fight me on that class. Yeah, every time it's like, oh, be safe on your one wheel melt, Sam, forever from now on forward. And then I get sued or something because I like the entire EUC space. Like, you know what? You know what? You know what, Sam? You do it. You do it because there's probably going to be some watcher that comes from that community that's going to find my content or something, and then he's going to see you say, "Nice one wheel," and then he's going to lose his mind, and I'm just going to sit back smiling and be like, "Yeah, I get it though. Welcome to my life." All right, I think I am trying to get to you, friends. Apple and Samsung are kind of the same thing. Don't kick me out. They're both cell phones, but they're not the same thing, right? They're not the same thing. They're not. They're not the same thing. They're different. They're different, okay? And in the way, like EUC is like the Samsung of those product lines because there's a bunch of different companies. There's Begode and there's InMotion and there's Veteran and there's now Aero. That's a new brand. And yeah, like there's a bunch of different brands that all make electric unicycles because that technology hasn't been patented. However, One Wheel is the only one who's allowed technically to make that product the way that it looks. In the same way that iPhone is the only one who's allowed to use their software to make cell phones, right? Like you can't be an indie developer or a new company that wants to make a phone, but you want to have that phone run Apple software and just automatically integrate into the whole Apple ecosystem. You just cannot do that. And again, that's the difference between EUCs and one wheels. It's like an ecosystem thing and a locking down of that ecosystem thing. It's like an iPhone and Samsung thing. It's in no way. Yes, it is. I just gave you an example of why it is. There's, I think, 7 different companies that make EUCs. There's only one company that's allowed by law, by copyright law, to make the one wheel sound. It's exactly like iPhone and Samsung in that way, or iPhone and Android in that way, iOS and Android. One of those things is a workable device, and the other is a trash status symbol. Yeah, like again, I don't know if I don't know if you know this, Sam, but starting from tomorrow, technically, this stream is going to be run through an iPhone. There's an iPhone that got like thrown in a drawer that then escaped said drawer and found itself here. And I'm going to be doing my live stream on that thing tomorrow. It's still workable, right? I'm not going to flaunt it like I have money because having it. It's just going to be a device that I interface here with you friends with. But it can work. However, they're the only ones that's allowed to make that device work. Thanks for showing care and concern. Love is true. Before iPhone, it was Apple, bottom jeans, and boots of fur. Yeah, I opened my eyes. No chains, no shades. Cool. Pretty cool. I have to go do work stuff. Peace, y'all. Love to you, Dan. Have a good one. We have been streaming for so long. Tomorrow, Melt uses an iPhone for the first time ever. I've technically used an iPhone before. Right, technically. Oh no! This thing this thing ran out of battery. I've technically used an iPhone once before. One time when I was working for that slapping competition brand. And it was excruciating. But fortunately, all of the excruciating parts I've already done. So now it's just a matter of plugging this device in and talk about. I'm gonna already swap this part because it is one of those old ones that still use these lightning connectors. Thank goodness this microphone that Joe got me comes with an extra little portam. Cool. Oopsie. I don't know if this thing's not gonna be rocked. It might be, but there we go. Tomorrow, I am streaming on a phone that's gonna be, I believe, better quality for the most part. If we're really lucky, maybe it crashes less and stuff too. I don't know. What I do know is that I appreciate you, friends, for joining me. I'm gonna do the little bit of a dive into the whole creatine thing just for Sam and for Kira Burb if she's still here. I don't know if Racha is here too. She might have gone on to something else, but here it goes. What creatine does. Creatine stores little packets of instant energy, phosphate groups, that your cell can use in the first few seconds that you need to fire hard. Movement, focus, memory retrieval, emotional regulation, everything. When you supplement, you top up your reserves. What it does in the brain. Your brain burns through energy like wildfire, especially when you're sleep deprived. Creatine helps stabilize that burn. In the brain, it helps keep neurons firing steadily even when your energy supply drops. It improves short term memory recall in tired brains, and it improves mental clarity and reaction speed. It also supports mood regulation by soothing our energy dips. It doesn't create a high, it just supports baseline functioning, the version of you with sleep even when you don't have sleep. Why sleep deprived parents tend to feel the benefits even more. Running on 4 to 6 hours of broken sleep means glucose regulation is unstable. ATP, your cell energy synthesis is reduced, and your stress hormones have risen. Cognitive load is higher because you have to make constant decisions, be vigilant, and you're multitasking. Creatine acts like a backup generator. When the brain primary energy system is compromised, creatine steps in and says, I've got enough charge to keep the lights on. This is why studies consistently show that the most sleep deprived people see the biggest cognitive benefit from creatine. More than athletes, more than bodybuilders, more than well rested adults. And for mothers especially, motherhood is a perfect storm for depleted energy, disturbed circadian rhythms, emotional labor, constant switching of attention, physical recovery, increased metabolic demands, chronic, slight sleep debt. Creatine doesn't solve the root exhaustion that comes from never fully getting to turn off for a moment, but it does reduce the cost of that exhaustion. It gives your brain a buffer, a bit more stability, a bit more resilience. Many mothers describe the feeling not as energized, but as my brain isn't fogging over as fast, or I don't get overwhelmed as quickly, or I recover from tiredness faster. It is starting to rain, so it's time for me to start moving. Thank you for more water falling. What a blessing it is. Best of luck to this lovable guy MeltMore as he stress hormones. I don't really feel too stressed, actually. I'm sharing advice with our friends that do go through stress. That can explain why my bro was suggesting creatine when he heard my sleep schedule. Yep, right? It helps you people the most. That's why, like, as soon as I heard Sam complain about the tiredness, I was instantly like, yep, please, Sam. For the love of your brain and for the love of your child and your well being and your well being of your child, with you being well, make sure you take some creatine, dear friend. It helps. It helps. Ooh. All right. I am in the darkness. I am sorry. I've read most of these. Just got back from picking up my son. I'm here. Bless. Getting to hear some of the creatine fractals. All right. I'll read the last little bit. Zoom. And then I'll show you French flowers. One clear boundary is creatine generally is considered safe for breastfeeding mothers in the normal doses. But you should check with your doctor if you have kidney issues, have significant medical conditions, have extremely low fluid intake, or you're taking certain medications. I don't think you can hear me that well anymore. So I think the rain's gonna be loud. Yeah, I'm looking for a budget supplement now. It is affordable too. You should be able to find it. You should be able to find it relatively affordably, Sam. Thank you for being willing to listen. I look forward to hearing how it's been helping. I don't know what I'm doing. A lot are on Black Friday deals. I might get some too. There you go. Creatine on Black Friday special. That's a double bargain. I know I was once desperate to save people. Me too. Now I realize I can barely save myself during too. And if I can manage to save myself, maybe there is hope for all of us. Alright, and all I have to do is be that. Try and be that hope. Not try and save. My heart dies. How do you want planes? Good. I like planes. I've flown a few times in my life. I lived in China for a bit. Not too worried, at least. That's good to hear. Yeah, at least. I think it would have been another thing to worry about if I did. It is going to be a while's worth of flight. It's going to be the longest I've flown since coming back from China. You're a caring person. It doesn't try you. It doesn't try you to be you. I think I get what you're saying. Oops. Thank you. I appreciate you seeing me as a good person. I do try to be, anyway, right? Like, I feel like a bad person a lot of the time. And instead of believing that, I live through my actions the good of my personhood, if that makes sense. Okay. I want to do my reading, but I want to have my microphones close. I'll just do it like this, okay? The breath that remakes me. There is a moment just before the inhale settles where I feel myself softening. Edges warming, certainty dripping away like wax near a flame. I melt a little, slide back into the shape the world has been keeping for me. And suddenly, I'm not trying to breathe perfectly, I'm remembering that breathing itself is perfection happening through me. Each inhale is a quiet arrival, a doorway widening, a reminder that becoming isn't forced, it's allowed. Each exhale is a letting go so gentle it feels like forgiveness. Old tensions slipping down my ribs, old names dissolving into a quiet I can finally trust. And in this rhythm, the rising and falling, older than my story, I feel a purpose stir. Light but certain, as if the universe is setting its hand on the center of my chest and saying yes, like this. I am made again with every breath, not a fixed thing, not a finished thing, but a beautiful melting, a steady becoming, a shape reshaped by presence. And the more I listen, the more I soften, the more I let the breath teach me what it knows, the more I feel myself falling in love with the simple truth that perfection was never a destination. It was this quiet expansion, this steady warmth, this willingness to feel the miracle of air entering a body that is learning to be home. I breathe, I melt, I become, and the world becomes a little softer to catch me when I fall. I don't know how much of that you friends heard. It is raining a lot out there. What time is it there now? 6. 6 on the dot. Try is an action. Characterizing yourself or your action is an action. I'm gonna now take action and say, mwah, goodbye. It was hard to hear you over all the Skypers. I thought so. Microphones weren't plugged in. I love you, friends. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you again tomorrow, okay? Mwah, mwah. Goodbye. See you soon. I could hear most of it, then my space heater came on. Love is true. See you soon, friends.